Welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined this evening by my partners in crime. We got a full crew this evening. Everybody here off the top. What's going on, J3? How you feeling this evening?
Feeling great, feeling great. Glad to be here. Hey, everybody.
The professor's in the building. What's going on, Professor? How you feeling this evening?
I'm feeling wonderful. The sun was shining today, nice little breeze. And all I got to say to the people is PTL, praise the Lord. Let's get it.
Amen.
Amen, amen. We got Big Ed in the building off the jump. Nice to have you, Ed. How you feeling, my brother?
I feel good. And hey, look, I'm so happy to be here on time. Y'all don't even know the half of it.
All right.
Let's talk some sports.
And last but definitely not least, we got my man Jay Wills in the building. What's going on, Jay Wills? How you feeling this evening, brother?
Feeling amazing. I can't complain. I actually feel a lot better than Kevin Hart's last comedy specials doing.
Ooh.
Harsh reality out here, gentlemen.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm glad you saved me the time.
Right. That's what I said, too.
So, as far as sports go, we're going to hit NBA, do a little brief draft recap, talk about NBA free agency and some trades that happened. We got to get into NFL Week 11, the college football update, including the CFP, which is going on right now for the first rankings. We're going to have a special edition called Fantasy Post Takes this week. For y'all who follow us, you know we have a post fantasy show on Thursdays because that's Thanksgiving. Obviously, we're going to give you some fantasy tips to get yourself going so you have your lineup set for Thursday while you're eating turkey or whatever your flavor is. And last but not least, our final post of the evening. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Show Talk channel. All right, fellas, we had an NBA draft. It took about 5 months later, but we had it. Some things went down. Jay Wills, I know you did some research on the draft for us and the NBA in general since you are an NBA insider. So give us some thoughts about what you thought, how the first round went down, and what were your overall thoughts about the draft this past week?
Well, it was nice to see that first and foremost that both the players in the NBA, everybody put safety first. You saw a lot of individuals get drafted from the house. They had on their mask and tried to make sure they was properly social distance. So I like that, though they were handling business, that they did put safety first, so that we all should keep that in mind as well as we go about our day. But as far as the players go, my overall feel about the draft, I think it was a good draft. No doubt. I think there's a lot of talented individuals in this draft who have a lot of promise. But my overall issue with the NBA draft, as the NBA overall, is the one and done thing. I think a lot of these guys are talented, but at the same time, I haven't seen much. I have a hot year, and unless you was into their high school careers, you didn't see a whole lot of that either. So going from a sample size, the few guys that did stand out to me was Anthony Edwards, who went number 1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's a shooting guard, strong guard, very explosive, can handle himself well, decent ball handler. I'm looking to see him take major steps over the next 2 years. If he links up with the right individuals, he seems like he'll be a good fit with D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns. He does like to pass, but he definitely knows how to get his. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that young man. Secondly, James Wiseman, who went number 2 to the Golden State Warriors. 7'1" center. This is a real center. Has a 7'6" wingspan, very similar to KD. So if the gentleman gets a hand up, there's no shots going up around him. So this is a traditional center. He will definitely have a role on the Warriors. With Clay going down, they're going to need some tough individuals on the floor. I know they don't play the same spot, but Golden State benefits a lot from having a big man. So it's not a surprise at all that this team went for a guy of this size. Number 3, I guess, will be everyone who watched the draft. They wanted to see where LaMelo Ball was going to fall. That rhymed. I didn't mean for that to happen. I'm going to give him $1 anyway. He went to the Charlotte Hornets, 6'7" guard. I don't even want to pronounce the team he played for professionally in Australia. I'm going to just say the Hawks. But he's definitely a talented guard, one of the best shooters I've seen in a while. I think he'll run an excellent pick and roll basketball. He's a great passer, great ball handling. He does have issues, though. Poor shooting at times, choice of shots. He can hit the shot consistently. He's definitely brave enough to take the shot, but at times that confidence goes back in his face. So that's definitely something I would want to watch for. But they do, quite a few individuals mentioned that they were questioning his willingness to put in the work to be a star. They feel like he has all the talent in the world. They feel like he has a great upside. But are you going to do what's necessary to be that star, to chase down your brother? One thing about Lonzo, he works hard. Lonzo Ball does work hard. He's made advancements in his body. He's put on a few pounds of muscle. He looks like he wants to do what's necessary, but he's also an individual who's had some experience at UCLA, being around certain individuals, pushing them into the right direction. So I'm eager to see exactly how LaMelo Ball pans out. Another individual to me that stood out was a gentleman by the name of Isaac Okoro. He's a 6'6" wing out of Auburn. He went number 5. He's an excellent combination player for the Cavaliers. He works hard on and on. These are some things that were said about him. He comes well recommended. He makes good decisions that let his athleticism and strength let him finish through contact. So he looks like a guy who may live at the line as well. If he puts in that type of work and kind of mirrors himself after maybe a James Harden, with his ability to finish at the rim, you're looking at a guy over a couple of years who could average anywhere from 25 to 30 points. But we will see. Don't take too much for granted this first year, how they play. Give these guys a year or two, because a lot of these young individuals are just flat out kids.
Jay Wills, how's his free throw shooting? You said he'll live at the line. How's his free throw shooting?
I'm not sure, but I'm hoping when you're at the professional level, you 6'6" and you're a shooter, you better knock down some free throws.
Well, that's not always the case.
Hey, Jay Wills, can I ask you a couple questions about some of the things you just talked about?
Sure.
One thing I want to ask you about, and I'll go reverse. Does Wiseman actually want to play center, or does he want to be hanging around the perimeter? Like, is he? You mentioned that he's a traditional center. Right. Is he in the traditional center mode that's going to bang bodies and stay in the paint? Or does he want to be like the Joker out in Denver?
And I think that's the question I would have for any big man in the NBA right now. And even if he desired to bang down low, depending on what type of offense you want to run, is it going to give you the freedom to actually do that? They play a lot of positionless basketball, especially in Golden State. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of times he'll be setting a lot of picks out near the wings to free up. If Clay was there, he would be helping to free up Clay, helping to free up Steph, any other shooter they may have. Golden State generally wants their big men to be shot blockers, to be rebounders. But with Clay going down and them needing to mix things up, I'm not 100% sure how they plan to use them, honestly.
What about Draymond Green?
Draymond Green is an enforcer, but Draymond Green, J3, don't laugh, man. He is an enforcer. He's their enforcer for what it is.
They want Draymond to play the 4.
Yeah.
They don't want him to play the center, especially without Clay. They won't be used in that quote unquote depth lineup as much this year. And with Wiseman, I think Wiseman, limited sample size, he's kind of the newer, still center type player where he'll run rim to rim, catch some lobs, pick and roll. He can pick and pop till about 15 to 18. He doesn't have he's not a 3-point shooter. I'm sure they'll allow him to develop that, but that's not his repertoire. He's more of okay, I'm gonna set this pick, I'm gonna roll, you pass me the ball, I'm gonna get some dunks, get a couple of pull-ups, but I'm gonna be running rim to rim to rim. Kind of like what the big man did for Houston with James Harden before he got traded to Atlanta.
Capella. Clinton Capella.
All right, and finally, one other question: do you guys? And this is for you, Jay Wills, but anybody can jump in on this because it kind of has. I know it's a hot topic and it's controversial as far as the one and done rule. And you mentioned that, Jay Wills. Do you think it's time to relook at that and say, hey, man, these kids are coming in here and they're literally kids. And we mentioned last show that they're like 22-year-olds are being frowned upon, like the kid that went to New York topping. But do you think it's time to say, hey, man, these kids, they're not even going to be available for 3 to 4 years unless you like the superstar like LeBron is, or what? But do you think it's time for the NBA to revisit, maybe saying, hey, you know what, you guys, 3 years, then you can come into the league, because right now you're not doing us any good?
I completely agree with you. At least 2. I think it takes from the game. You have a lot of people who come through the draft and shortly they're in the D League. A lot of these players, maybe not within the first round, but a lot of your second and your later rounds, sometimes they end up in the G League, like the downside, sit back for a while so they can improve on their game. And I think there's a big gap from the top tier teams and some of these lower tier teams. And that's because the talent at the top, the talent at the bottom is so young, they're just not ready to play. Right. You got individuals like a LeBron James. I think a cat like LeBron James is able to abuse certain teams and a lot of players in this league. Not only am I more experienced than you, you're just a child.
Yes.
You're not ready to play with me yet. You know what I'm saying? If there's ever a knock on him winning the way he has and dominating the way he has the last couple of years, it's because you're playing a bunch of children. You're much better than them. These kids are not coming in. They're very athletically gifted, but their talent level is raw, very raw. So I completely agree with you. I think the one and done to me is destroying the talent level of the league. I think you have more of a balanced talent level across the NFL. You still got to earn your keep in the league. You can't walk into the NFL no little boy. You done had 3-4 years weight room. You've had to kind of work at your craft. And those NFL teams are not going to allow this. But in the NBA, because they're coming in so early, they can get in so early, it forces the teams to hurry up and grab them up before a potential star, what an individual may turn into 4 or 5 years later, is actually gone.
Yeah, from the veteran standpoint, they would definitely want them to wait 3 years to come into the league, because a lot of them are losing their roster spots because these young guys are coming in. But most of our topics, gentlemen, always go back to what? Revenue and money. So you just mentioned the G League, the D League, whatever they want to call it next year. That is a product that they really want to push out there. Yes, the young men will make a little bit of money, but of course, that's marketing for the NBA and for them to have a literal farm system to pick from. So, yes, it might be good for cats that don't want to go to college, and they can kind of bypass that, which would take them out of the one and done because they can be professionals right away. But that's more like a camp or farming system that feeds into the NBA. The NCAA, while I think they would benefit from allowing players to stay a lot longer in college, I think that's something that they probably need to take heed to. But what do you say to the young man that really does not want to go to college and they really don't want to go through development in the league, but they want to get right into the NBA? Well, if you talk to enough young men out here, you know that all of them think that they superstars and that they can walk in and beat LeBron from day one. They can take KD, Kyrie Irving, and all of them. But like you say, mentally, they're not ready. Their talent is raw, so they need coaches to really get them ready for the NBA game. Because I can tell you now, we talking about Wiseman at 7'1". once he get in there and he start banging with some of these NBA caliber centers, we gonna really see if he has the talent to really, stay in those games with those men. But we shall see.
Unfortunately, it's going to go the other way. The NBA is moving toward the European soccer model. There's not going to be the one and done is going to go away. You're actually going to be able to go right from high school to the G League and play with the G League team or get drafted and then be able to move back and forth from the pro team to the G League and back and forth while you improve.
That might be better. I think if your goal is to ultimately make it into the NBA, go ahead and jump into your career and start that work in. You might as well, because the playground, that I call that recess when they go to college. You go to recess for a little bit, you play around. Everybody loves you because you're averaging 25 points per game on another 17-year-old, and then you walk into the NBA and you realize KD is completely destroying you every night. Well, you never perfected your defense. You never worked on this. You never worked on that. So if they can go ahead and go to the G League and start developing their game, they can start working on NBA-like drills, start having NBA, get an understanding of how an NBA offense, an NBA defense works. So that actually makes a lot of sense to me. I think that'll be the best thing to happen. Did it help the Euro League, the soccer league? Did it improve?
Absolutely. Over in Europe, they got soccer leagues where they're putting people in academies when they're 10, 9, and they grow up in the academy, go to school, play soccer, and when they're ready to go pro, they go pro and keep on. It's a different lifestyle, but that's what's coming. Let's move on to the NBA vets who did some moving around this week as free agency kicked in this Friday. And I mean, there was some major moves going on. First, we just want to bounce off some guys who signed some max extensions. Bam Adebayo signed a 5-year max extension with the Heat. You had Brandon Ingram sign a 5-year max extension with the Pelicans. You also had Jason Tatum get his 5-year max extension. You had Utah's Donovan Mitchell get his 5-year max extension. So a bunch of young fellas who were eligible for their first real contract got their max extensions. But as far as the free agent signings, as far as I'm concerned, the Lakers got younger. I think the Lakers got better.
Yes.
The people that they lost, they replaced with younger guys that they can mold into their group. And the Lakers position themselves to make a run for the next 2 years that Bron is on contract to try to get 1 or 2 more championships. What do y'all think?
Picking up Harrell and Schroeder may have locked in LeBron's 5th championship, in my opinion. I think you have a solid point guard in Schroeder that can be molded. He's ready and willing to play defense. He's a dog on defense. And he's also known to be a very coachable player as well. He will definitely pick up things from LeBron. Harrell also opens up the offense a little bit. Now you can add a big man where Dwight and JaVale McGee couldn't have scored, or the threat of scoring. Sometimes just having the threat of scoring causes a person not to lag off you too far. They have to stay close to you. That means that's opening up the middle of the court for Anthony Davis to be able to catch an alley-oop or do all types of things with the offense. So you force people to have to respect you. You could sag off of Dwight Howard. You can sag off of JaVale McGee. All that is thrown out the window. They also, like you said, they got younger as well, so they can get up and down the floor a lot better. When Rondo used to come in, they slowed down the offense a bit. And that may be great for playoff basketball, but you'll mess around and get ran off the floor during the regular season if you keep that up.
Especially with Denver.
Keep that up during the regular season.
Denver and Utah are going to run you out the gym.
So
problems keeping up with them kids. Rondo can't play defense chasing a 22-year-old around for 32 minutes. It's just not how it works.
Well, do you have any concerns as far as the height and the athleticism they lost on defense with McGee and Howard?
I think the major key to them being such a dominant rebound team, of course, JaVale and Dwight Howard definitely played their roles. But LeBron was also a 7, 8, 9, 10 rebound per game averager himself. So he adds a lot to that. Harrell will definitely still do his thing. He definitely, he's the sixth man of the year. He's all hustle. And you still got AD. So you still have the potential to be one of the top rebounding teams. And I forgot his name. It just hit me like a brick.
Don't forget about Marc Gasol.
Marc Gasol.
Right.
They just picked up a savvy vet. You know what I'm saying? That can shoot. So
And pass.
And pass out the exactly.
And throw them bowls.
And he's willing to get physical. He don't play that soft American stuff.
And throw them bowls.
Do you know where I'm from? That man. That. So I'm expecting LA to do some things. They definitely going to make some moves. The thing that hurt me about this trade, not this particular trade, but the Milwaukee Bucks. It was said that they had locked down Bogdan. I thought for sure, he was with the Milwaukee Bucks. And Ed made a great point that Milwaukee last show, that Milwaukee is doing everything in reverse. Ed, it looked like they're even doing reverse wrong.
They told everybody except for Bogdan.
Told everybody except for Bogdan. So that kind of blows up that Milwaukee offense. Any team out there really trying to get Giannis, you may actually have a shot. Bogdan, his shooting would have given him a chance to really make some noise in the Eastern Conference. With him gone, you couldn't even consider him there. With Bogdan now in Atlanta, you got a lot of shooting coming out of the Hawks backcourt now. Him and Trey about to go off.
So where is Giannis going to be?
I don't know.
Do you really think he's going to stay in Milwaukee without any help? Would you stay there without any help?
If it's up to Giannis, yes. But if he listens to his management, he'll leave.
I think his heart wants to stay in Milwaukee. I think he's happy to just be in the league. I think what you see is the truth. I think he is a joyful kid who went through a lot of ups and downs and has finally put himself and his brothers in.
I think that's fading. I really think that's fading, because when you get to the point where you got individual accolades and the last thing to get is that championship, I think that'll weigh more on this situation moving forward with his personal decision than, where we say his heart might be. He might like it there, but when you start thinking about your legacy, you might be more in tune to do a Kevin Durant weak move before you stay somewhere where you can't get a championship. That's just me.
Two quick things before we get out of here and jump on the NFL. We talked about the Lakers. We got to give the Clippers a little bit of talk. And what do you think about the Sixers moves? It looks like Doc Rivers and the backroom gambler are already moving things around to try to make the Sixers a better team. So,
well, the Sixers better make some moves. If you don't make us, they should be knocking on the Eastern Conference Championships door.
Yep.
You have a young core where you had, especially over the last 4, 5, 6 years, Philly has had Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, Norleans Noel, Jahlil Okafor. You've had a couple of top picks, and these kids have all left you and went to be decent players on others' teams. Not necessarily stars, but they went to be decent players on other teams. Now, I think that also feeds into what we were talking about, the one and done. You also got a lot of these kids early. So I like the moves that Philly had. They're okay, but they need to show that it has to prove out eventually.
Didn't Caldwell Pope come from the 76ers too?
Who's that?
Caldwell Pope.
Yeah, but they didn't originally draft him. Detroit originally drafted him, if I'm not mistaken. But
Okay.
Philly's problem was they whiffed that first pick when they passed up Jason Tatum and instead went with Markelle Fultz. That was a tremendous and look, we all like Markelle. He's DMV. We like him, but that was a horrible decision.
Can't compare.
And is Serge Ibaka going to be enough of a replacement to help the Clippers get over whatever they went through last year, since Serge and the Claw are buddies and real good friends? Maybe he can have somebody to talk to on the team, because they said he didn't talk to anybody else during the season.
And Serge, he spends a lot of time with himself. He's cool with his teammates, but the man is a family man. He spent a lot of time with himself. So Kawhi just gonna have to do what he have to do. Get rid of that load management and win some serious playoff rounds. You got all the rest you need.
Yeah, but you can't blame everything on Kawhi, man. You got to give him some help. And maybe by picking up Serge, he can get some rebounds, and that'll lessen the load for the club. Because we all know playoff Pete didn't do jack.
But he wanted playoff Pete. So
I understand. But obviously playoff Pete didn't want him because he didn't do nothing.
And the Clippers had 2 of the last 6 men.
Yeah.
They had the stars. They just didn't take care of business. So I'm not necessarily putting it all on Kawhi. But the fact is, if KD loses, they put it all on KD. If LeBron loses, they put it all on LeBron. If you want to be the big dog, you got to accept the big dog criticism. Kawhi, if you want to be one of the top dogs in LA, that commercial you put out, they made you eat all of that. So if you want to show up, you're going to have to handle your business next year, bro, if you want to be with the big dogs.
And Kawhi, this is the worst coach he's ever had in his career. So Doc was. So,
wow.
He couldn't quite over.
Wow.
Tell us how you really feel, Ed.
Before we get out of here on the NBA, just stay tuned for the Wizards drama. Supposedly, John Wall supposedly asked for a trade. Now
ain't going nowhere.
They didn't ask for a trade. Nobody's trading for a guy that's been out for 2 years and still owed $133 million, unless
all about
unless it's a trade straight up with Houston.
John Wall ain't going nowhere.
He ain't going nowhere. Ain't nobody touching that.
I'm Houston. I wouldn't do that.
And last but not least, let's give a shout out to my man Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet re-signed with the Toronto Raptors, 4 years, $85 million, which is the highest deal ever signed by an undrafted, unrestricted free agent. He went from coming up through the G League, just trying to make a team, to now that man that made almost $100 million in the last 3 years. So,
worth it.
Off to Fred VanVleet.
Well worth it.
And Max Smith, who commented, "Don't sleep on Denver. They're going to surprise." I don't think they're going to surprise anybody anymore.
Not the way they play.
Ain't nobody sleeping on Denver. They for real.
You can't sleep on boys playing ball. I'm actually looking forward to them, seeing how they look over the next couple of years. But I do believe for the next at least year or two, the West will belong to LA.
The way they went at Utah, ain't nobody sleeping on them at all.
I like them kids.
All right, fellas, let's get into the NFL Week 11. We got to start off again with the injuries. And damn, Joe, why you had to come to FedEx Field, bro?
Yeah.
It's something going on at FedEx Field that all these quarterbacks getting their legs tore up. Joe Burrow's gone for 2020 and probably a good chunk of 2021 after they revealed that not only did he tear his ACL, he tore his MCL, and they say there's further damage inside the knee that they won't realize until the swelling goes down and actually go in for the operation. Cardinals QB Kyler Murray, even though he finished the game last week, he had a sprained AC joint. He says he's going to try to play, but keep your eyes out for that We'll see. Julio Jones. I don't know if Julio's just trying to get up out of Atlanta
Probably. I would.
or what, but he tweaked his hamstring again and probably will miss more time. Your boy Patrick McCaffrey. Not Patrick. Why did I say Patrick?
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey will miss another game because of his shoulder issue. So McCaffrey has missed a bunch of games earlier with the high ankle sprain, and now he's missed 2 games in a row with the shoulder. So they might as well just put him in bubble wrap for the rest of the year and just call it a year. And last but not least, Denzel Ward of the Cleveland Browns, cornerback, is possibly out for a few weeks with a calf strain. And then you get this COVID craziness, man. Myles Garrett is out for a second game. But what's going on with the Ravens? Right before we came on, I heard the numbers up to 11 total between players. Really, Ed? That's cruel,
Really?
dog.
That's
That's
true.
cruel.
Yeah, that's just wrong, Ed.
That's real low.
Hey man, what they gonna do? We had a game altered because of COVID-19 already. We had to,
You're 10-0 though. Yeah,
but we have to play 13 straight weeks because of Tennessee's craziness. So everybody's going to be touched by COVID. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, but the question is, they need to move this Thursday game. Just move it to Sunday or something. There's 6 players, including both of the starting running backs, have tested positive. Come on.
But then I got to watch the Cowboys and the Lions on Thanksgiving.
Right.
Right.
And the NFL knows that, Ed. That's why they're going to do their best to keep this game on Thursday.
Exactly.
You guys are right. I think it should be. I think a Friday or Sunday game is no harm. There's no harm.
They are doubling down. Today they said the game is still on.
Man,
Until more people pop up positive tomorrow. Then let's see what they say.
It'll take Roger Goodell himself to show up positive to get this game out of there.
well,
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
And then your boy Adam Thielen, after doing his thing in his game, popped up again. Now they say his is a close contact, but we'll see. So COVID.
But what constitutes an outbreak? When 10 players, that's not an outbreak? 10 people have COVID?
One player should be an outbreak. I agree with you, Jay Wills. One player should be an outbreak because you just never know who they got in contact with in the facility.
Like, it seems foolish. It just doesn't make sense. I know if I'm sending my kid to school and she comes back and says 10 kids came down with COVID, Dad, you're not going tomorrow. That's not I don't
but you say it doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. I mean, we're playing sports in a pandemic.
Yes, it does. It does make sense.
Well,
It makes a whole lot of sense. It's all about money. They ain't worrying about the players. They worrying
and
about their
Steelers
revenue.
want this game because Miami gonna pop the champagne early because no forfeit is an undefeated season. Not technically.
Oh.
You going back to the old timers, huh?
Because Mercury will pop that champagne if they get a forfeit. They're gonna be like, that's not a real undefeated season. I'm telling you.
Big Ben said they're not chasing an undefeated season. They chasing Lombardies.
Ben lies. Right.
But Ed, on a serious note, Ed, do you really want to pay the Ravens that already injury riddled, then without this 2 starting running backs, their nose tackle, whoever other players? Oh, you just want the W, huh?
Yes,
You like Jameis, you want that W, huh?
We had to play the last thing without our quarterback. Yeah, I do want to play him. Yes,
I hear you.
I want that W.
Well, let's get into the games. The game of the week, by far, to me, was the Chiefs against the Raiders.
Yes.
That was a good game.
Fellas, Derek Carr went toe-to-toe with that man Patrick Mahomes and didn't blink.
Until
The
the
Raiders are ahead of schedule, and the Raiders are for real. Nobody wants to see the Raiders in the playoffs, including Kansas City. What were your thoughts on the game?
It was a good game. It was a good game. However, defense, I mean, where was it? Because both teams were scoring at will. Literally. I mean, you had Patrick Mahomes go down the field with a minute and 30-something seconds left in the game.
Oh, yeah. I knew that was over.
Defense. Where's your defense at? So you talking about people are scared of the Raiders? Yeah, I don't know about all that, bro. That secondary is suspect.
Yeah, but that secondary is young. And remember, I said earlier when we was doing our predictions before the year started, I said even though it's COVID going on, I said that location was going to give the Raiders extremely advantageous home field because of the fact that people coming into Vegas and they got a lot of talent in Vegas. And they got a lot of things to do in Vegas. And the last thing they worried about is playing the Raiders. I mean, sure, they're going to be professional as they can be, but everybody on that team is not Patrick Mahomes. Everyone on that team, everyone on that team is not locked.
Is Lou Williams on that team? I'm just saying.
Chicken wings.
No, Le'Veon Bell is though. That's close enough.
Right.
Yeah. It seems that the Raiders again are ahead of schedule, and because of COVID, ain't nobody really getting out to and partying these days. Most of them, they on lockdown when they go travel into these other cities. But I disagree with my man Marcus. Raiders are consistent, strong. They got a hell of a running game, and they gave Kansas City their only loss. And if it wasn't for that, they left a minute and 30 seconds left on there for Mahomes, they might have gave him 2. So they're a team to look out for. But as long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy, if you give him the ball with an opportunity to beat you, he's going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So the great thing about this, though, is because they're 9-1, and let's go ahead and get over with the Steelers. The Steelers had a walkover, got to 10-0, so we ain't even going to talk about the game. But each team is going to have to continue to play in order to try to get that number 1 seed, not only by. So that's good. That's good news for football fans. They're going to keep playing throughout the season. We got to talk about the Ravens next. First and foremost, Tennessee Titans had righted their ship and went back to what they did at the end of last year. They went bully ball. They punched the Ravens in the mouth. They started before the game when they went out to their emblem at the 50-yard line and held a team meeting before the game. That told you everything you needed to know. And it took Harbaugh to come out there, but where were the rest of the players for the Ravens?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Your coach ready to fight, but y'all not ready to fight. Come on.
Sizzle would have never let that happen.
Nor Ray Lewis or Ed Reed.
So the Ravens got an identity problem. They need to figure out what they are and how they want to play. They're trying to play a finesse offensive game. I know they got offensive line problems and all that, but that's not how they're built. If they don't get mean and nasty, they'll make the playoffs, but they'll be out in the first round. Anybody got anything to add to that?
Yeah,
man. That was a horrible walk-off run that King Henry did. Ain't nothing to say.
They don't call him king for nothing. What was you going to say, J3?
I was getting ready to say, where's the defense at? They're known for their defense. Where is it at?
Well, to be fair, I mean, if we're being fair,
Mm-hmm.
their 2 starting tackles were out of the game. I mean, and I know that shouldn't necessarily mean everything, but if you lose your 2 starting tackles in a 4-3 defense, I mean, that's going to hurt. It's just going to hurt.
Hey, Ed, can I ask you a question?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, bro?
Yes, they all get paid, J3. I know what you're going to ask.
You got 11 players on the defense. So you going to tell me out of 11 people, can't nobody tackle? Can't nobody stop nobody?
Well, and full disclosure, Marcus Peters, he made a couple business decisions. A couple. and I don't blame him. I don't blame a cornerback saying, you know what? I got to live to see another day. I don't.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
quarterback.
He ain't want to see no parts of Henry at all.
So,
You right.
And that's what they do. They beat you down for a couple of quarters, and Henry doesn't look good in the first quarter or the second quarter. The third quarter, he start churning. Fourth quarter, if they still in the game and they give him the ball, you got problems.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree that, again, the Ravens coaches have to figure out, one, the identity of the team and better game plans on offense and defense, or again, the Ravens will be will be one and done in the playoffs again. Let's talk about your man, the GOAT.
Jeez.
It seems like every time they got to stand up to a physical team that's
He
got
stink.
any kind of inside pass rush,
Like I said,
he don't want to get touched anymore.
yeah, it's been that way for the last 3 seasons.
And
Yeah,
Jamani been saying it. Jamani been calling it.
Yeah.
But here's the issue with Tom Brady. I watched the game. I watched the complete game. But again, when he plays good teams, he played the Saints twice, got smoked, and he played Aaron Donald. I ain't going to mention it. I mean, just that alone will lose him the game. But the problem is Arians is just too loosey goosey, and that offensive line sucks. Why is no one saying that? That offensive line sucks. Plus, Brady is my age. I can't play football. I can't. I mean, it's just sometimes it just ends. And when it ends, it's over. But he can't move. He never could move. And now he's just like, I'm not getting hit. Regardless, I'm not getting hit.
And there's a few times I was wondering, what in the world are you looking at? That slow-mo replay, it really does you dirty if you made a horrible decision. And they put down that field, and I'm like, there is none of your teammates in sight. Where are you
Dude, what I showed you yesterday, he looking through the weeds and he can't see his receivers anymore. So basically, we said it yesterday. It's the Antonio Brown effect. He think now all I gotta do is throw it up and somebody gonna play hero ball for me. But if you watch the defenders, they just sitting back and waiting for him to take them shots, and they just like thank you and running back the other way. When he runs his quick slant game, I mean, there's nobody better. I give it up to him. He got that ball in some tight windows, but whenever he tries to throw the ball down the field, that's when it's danger. And whenever he tries to throw his outs now, that's where them pick sixes come from. So people got a book on Brady now, man. I mean, the arm ain't that strong anymore, so he's not getting it down the field for a bomb no more. I mean, just face it. It's over.
So stop running those plays. Why
But
you
the
keep calling no
receivers
plays?
want it. They want it.
If
That's
the
coaching.
thing to do is to stop running those,
Hey, I know who could have gotten him the ball. He in New Orleans now. How you like that now, coach? How you like that? All you had to do was teach him to stop throwing interceptions, and
Not
you would have
30 for 30.
quarterback.
Arians is some garbage. I've been telling y'all this for weeks. He's some
Oh
garbage.
yeah,
Yeah, it's showing. It's showing.
Every quarterback that Arians has had as either the offensive coordinator or the head coach has thrown their most interceptions under him in their career. As soon as they leave him or before him, they don't have INT problems. They get to Arians and he wants to air everything out, and then he wants to blame the quarterbacks for him calling dumb plays, and then it's their problem.
Ask Kurt Warner.
Ask Andrew.
He ran
Andrew
Kurt
Luck.
Warner out of there.
Ask Andrew Luck. He made
They almost got him killed, ended up making him retire early. So
He put Kurt Warner in a Giants uniform. Come on.
And Tomlin couldn't wait to fire him when as soon as he became coach of Pittsburgh. Seriously, that was his first major firing. He said, "You gotta go, dude."
let's go back to last week's Thursday night game, which was a good one. You had the battle for the NFC West lead, where you had the Seattle Seahawks beat the Arizona Cardinals 28-21, and your boy Dangerous Russell Wilson bounced back to his MVP form, had a strong night, did his thing, and he battled with Kyler Murray, who I mentioned earlier, even sustaining a shoulder injury in his throwing shoulder in the second quarter, still battled and almost had them in the game right at the end. So
That was a good game.
Yeah,
That was a real
we
good
called
game.
it though, didn't we, J3 on the fantasy
Yeah.
show? We was like,
No
Russ
doubt.
about to cook again. Yeah.
No
the
doubt.
scary thing is, have y'all seen Seattle's final 6 games?
Yeah. Brutal.
They play one team with a winning record, and that's the Rams. The other teams, they play 3 NFC East teams, the injured 49ers, and the Jets.
So in other words, they're going to the playoffs.
Oh, they definitely going to playoffs.
They gonna
No,
find
they
a
gonna
way
get
to
the number
drop
1
one of
seed.
those. Wow. They gonna find a way to drop what their defense just not like it used to be. They're
I got a
gonna
question.
drop one of those. It's
If they
gonna be
drop
brutal.
one, they're gonna be 12-4. That's the number 1 seed.
But do they play like a number 1 seed? I don't care what they get. Do they play like a number 1 seed?
On any given night, they can.
And hold up, I saw what you just did there. The Saints gonna get the number 1 seed. They playing for number 2, Big Red. Stop playing over there. Stop playing, Big Red.
I don't know.
Who's more elusive in space? I just want to throw this out there: Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler. Yeah.
Yeah. Kyler
Lamar
He's
might-
shorter.
Yeah. Lamar
Them little
might
feet be running.
He do. He look like Mighty Mouse out there.
That's all you see.
And
going
Kyler racked
downfield.
up. If you look at him, Kyler racked up for a little dude. So
Yeah.
he gonna bring a little something too.
He ain't no baby. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
So speaking of those Saints, your boy Taysom Hill got his first start as an NFL QB.
Yeah.
Did a good job.
And while
too.
it wasn't pretty,
Yeah, it was rocky at first.
he figured out a way to get the W over the Falcons. And they also have a good 3-game setup coming to them. I think they have the Broncos, then they got the Falcons again, and then they got the Eagles. But then it gets tough. Then they got to see them Chiefs. So
Okay.
the question is, how long is Drew Brees going to be out? Because it seems like every 3 days he's got more cracked ribs. So
Playoffs. They gonna hold them out to the playoffs, especially if they securing the number 1 seed. They keep winning, they don't need to play.
Yeah, that's true.
but you think they're going to keep winning with Taysom?
I mean, Mahomes and them lost to the Raiders, man. And you think who that not gonna bring it harder than the Raiders? Come on, man. You eat your Wheaties now, Patrick. They coming.
Okay.
He
All
gonna
right? Remember this night, I said it. All right. Okay.
Patrick about to throw
I want you to be Kansas City. I can't wait.
Professor saying it with his deep voice. I hear you, Professor.
Yeah, my J3 voice is coming tonight.
Stay tuned.
I have to admit, I was surprised Taysom Hill played as good as he did because I was like, man, Jameis should get that start. But
I agree.
Peyton Manning is Sean Payton is the quarterback whisperer and a great head coach for a reason. So he knew,
And
obviously, he knew more than we, the general public knew.
And like I'm telling y'all, that Saints defense is cranking up now, man. They look
they-
shaky early in the year, but they coming in.
Yeah,
But if you look at the plays that Jason was actually calling, I mean, they weren't anything difficult. So he didn't have to force anything. I mean, all the passes that he threw were to receivers that were within his scope. So it wasn't anything that he hadn't seen before. So it was a good game.
But as more teams get tape on him, they're going to see what he likes to do, what they're trying to do, and try to take those things away and try to make him do other things. It'll be interesting. Fellas, the Packers are soft as tissue, man.
Poor
If it
Aaron
wasn't
Rodgers.
for Aaron Rodgers, I mean, if you got any kind of physical game, the Packers gonna lay down. What the Colts did to them in the second half, they had the Colts beat down. What they did to them in the second half, the Packers should be ashamed of themselves.
But have we seen this from the Packers before? I mean, the last couple of years, isn't it kind of a thing? We talk about teams folding under pressure as far as big games are concerned. Aaron, I mean, they haven't done it. anything in big games the last couple of years. They got smoked twice last year by San Francisco, and every time they've come up to play some big games this year, they've folded. And Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I know I like his running back. He has a great running back behind him, but I mean, his receivers, except for Adams, leave a lot to be desired. And it seems like he just sit back there like, man, I don't even care. Like, it feels like that. You know,
and it's sad too, because he got an offensive line. That's the sad part about it. He just ain't got nobody to throw to.
Yeah, but that offensive line, when defenses start pushing on them, they act like they don't want to do that. They want to be finesse and, you know, run those pretty plays that the coach is drawing up. When they get punched in the mouth, and let's play some football, they're like, hey! All right, to wrap up our NFL segment so we can move on. The Browns get past the Eagles, made it tougher than what it should have been. The Eagles stink, and the Browns are probably going to make the playoffs, probably end up somewhere 10-6 this year. Broncos surprised the Dolphins. I do have one quick question for you. Do y'all think Miami's head coach made the right decision in benching Tua in the fourth quarter because of his poor play and he was getting hit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If he's your future, why not?
And this is the criticism I have about bad teams. This is the difference between Miami and Cincinnati. Since Miami recognized that, you know what, we cannot protect this man right now. There's no need to see him get pummeled and punished.
Why?
But at the same time, you go to like a team like Cincinnati, they actually watched Joe Burrow was the quarterback that dropped the most out of all the NFL players and has taken the most hits out of all the entire NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And subsequently, he's gone for the year, maybe a year and a half.
Right. Against that hungry Washington football team line. They crazy.
Flores was absolutely right to take Tua out of there. He should have took him out sooner. He let him get hit 6 times as far as sacked 6 times, hit more so than that. But yeah, he was good to get him out of there. Like I said, I don't think he should be in there right now anyway.
Don't y'all love it when coaches actually protect their young quarterbacks?
Yes.
That's how it should be.
Yes.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Should be.
Makes sense. The Cowboys beat the Vikings. Andy Dalton returned. So, hey, it is what it is. I will say this. Kirk Cousins, I'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. That's
Texans beat the Patriots. If you look at the stats, fellas, Deshaun Watson, even though they took his best receiver, had a terrible coach, is putting up big numbers this year on a bad team. It's a shame. Hopefully he
running
can
for his life.
Cam's numbers was good too.
Yeah,
Cam,
before he got
Cam
killed.
put him up too.
Yeah. We already talked about the Bengals. That Washington football team's defense showed up and they put it to the Bengals. They got their victory. Panthers. Shout out to XFL standout PJ Walker getting his first start.
PJ.
And getting the win for the Panthers.
PJ.
With two
and
picks,
last
though.
but not least, rookie Justin Herbert is putting up crazy numbers.
Yeah, 49 dropbacks.
And they beat the Jets 34-28.
The Jets. Jets. Come on, man.
What's crazy as we get out of here, the coach is trying to keep his job. So he's got the old man Flacco playing QB.
Joe Flacco.
And they actually putting up numbers. They've been in their last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So they going to mess around. Because they refuse to fire this dude, he might win 1 or 2 games and end up them losing the number 1 pick.
0-16.
He know when to lose. He gonna get fired anyway.
If you're gonna get fired, why lose? If they're gonna fire you, might as well really screw the organization. Let me try to figure out a way to get 1 or 2 wins so they end up with the 2nd or 3rd pick on the way out the door.
They already got their young quarterback killed.
So the Week 12 matchups on Thanksgiving, you got 2 terrible games early. So you got the Detroit game, and then you got Washington against Cowboys following that. Two terrible games. We will see if the Ravens and Steelers go off Thursday night at 8:20, but that is the only game that really warrants watching on Thursday. You got the Titans at the Colts Sunday at 1, Cardinals at Patriots Sunday at 1. I'm interested in watching the Chargers at Bills is also Sunday at 1. Chiefs at Bucks, the best game of the week, Sunday 4:25. And then Sunday night, you got the Bears at the Packers. Why don't you see why Chiefs at Bucks?
Because the Bucks ain't really doing nothing, bro. It should be a walk in the park for the Chiefs.
I hear you. The Chiefs never blow anybody out, really. Have y'all noticed that?
They don't need to.
They play with teams.
Time to give them a last fourth quarter interception so they can win the game.
I hear you. So let's do our college football update. What you got, Ed?
Man, look. There was nothing exciting going on due to COVID and the reschedules and whatnot this weekend in college football. But we are going to touch on the matchup between in Big Ten matchup between Ohio State, number 3 in the country, against number 9 Indiana. But before we get to that, I want to play Guess Who to you guys, to my fellow co-hosts. Mm-hmm. And I'm quoting, I'm not worried about Tallahassee. I've been here 18 years, head coach for 12. They've had 3 head coaches in 4 years. So the decisions that they make, I'm not going to worry about. Advice from Tallahassee, I trust the doctors here. Who said something? Where would this come from, fellas?
Your boy Dabo.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently this past weekend, Clemson was all set, flew from Clemson, South Carolina, chartered a plane down to Tallahassee, Florida. Total expense $300,000 for staff, players, coaches. They get down there. The Friday beforehand, they had a positive test come back for one of their players. So apparently the doctors from Florida State and Clemson could not come to any kind of agreement as far as moving forward with the game. And finally, Tallahassee was like, there's not going to be no games. Tallahassee being Florida State saying there's not going to be no game. Dabo claiming that he has sat in every meeting that occurred prior to the season getting started on COVID-19 protocols, insists that there was no mention of a positive test being basis for canceling the game. In fact, he says that if it came down to a positive test being capable of canceling the game, there would have not been a season anyway. So anyway, Florida State, Clemson going back and forth. And so stay tuned as far as that's concerned. What do you guys think about this? What do y'all think about that?
Well, first of all, your boy Dabo kind of, fudged the story a little bit. The offensive lineman that tested positive was showing symptoms all week. Why was he practicing? Why was he in meetings? Why did you put him on a plane with your bus? They got multiple buses. I don't care if you put a mask or shield on. You had this dude practicing with your other players all week. Yeah, he wasn't testing positive then, but everyone who's followed this COVID thing knows that you can be positive, be infectious, but not test positive right away. So once you show symptoms, you should be isolating. So to me, it's their fault for not isolating that dude from the jump. And the issue with Florida State, because I did a little digging, Florida State said, we'll play, but everybody he's had come in contact with, they can't. So that was their whole offensive line, some of their running backs. So, of course, he was pissed. Yeah, Dabo need to, ease up a little bit.
Okay. So anyway, in the big matchup,
Indiana,
Ohio State jumped up to a 35-7 lead on Indiana in the third quarter. They did not score another offensive touchdown at that point. Indiana came all the way back And if not for one mistake by Indiana, the quarterback for Indiana had 5 touchdown passes and 1 pick. That 1 pick was a pick 6 by Ohio State. It was the difference of the game. So with Penn State lost to Indiana earlier in this season, the first game of the year, when we all acknowledged that it was coaching that did it, Indiana was a little better than we may have thought. Speaking of Penn
I agree
State,
with that.
yeah. Speaking of Penn State in 119.
Damn.
Jane.
Penn State has been playing football for 133 years, well before certain individuals was even considered to be on that team. They have never started 0-5 in the history of that program. And in fact, this weekend they play Michigan, who is equally horrible. At least they've won 2 games. If they lose this game, they're only playing 7 games this year in Big Ten. If they lose this game, they will drop to 0-6, obviously, with 1 more game to go. Fellas,
The curse.
does the head coach survive in 0-17 showing in COVID America?
Find a good realtor.
The curse. Joe Paterno.
Time
Joe
to go.
Pop.
Well,
Them uniforms need to go too.
well, and finally, looking forward to this upcoming week. Well, actually tonight, I don't know if anybody has it on TV. The college football playoff rankings come out, but I don't need to see the rankings. I can guess with a 100% accuracy. I believe Alabama would be 1.
Right.
Notre Dame would be number 2.
Right.
Number 3 would be Ohio State. And
Nope.
Wrong. Clemson's 3, Ohio State's 4.
How?
Because of that terrible
'Cause
game
of
they
the-
played against Indiana that they almost lost.
Wow, I'm shocked. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. Well, at least we have this week to look forward to. The only 2 ranked teams playing is Bama in the Iron Bowl versus Auburn. That takes place in Tuscaloosa this year.
You sure
And we
they're
have-
playing?
Oh, that's playing.
Oh yeah, they're playing.
Yeah, that's the Iron Bowl.
Iron Bowl is playing.
Yeah, that's
period.
the Iron Bowl.
And then we have Notre Dame ranked number 2, as we just talked about, against North Carolina. And I
That's gonna be good.
believe this is Notre Dame's last official competitive game until they get for the ACC championship.
Notre Dame's going to be missing 2 offensive linemen for this game, so this game's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Great point, BJ Murphy. I see your comment. I like that.
So that's there we go with college as far as what's going on. There's not really much going on, and we did have some positive tests coming out of Maryland. They were forced to miss their second game when the head coach tested, but there's nothing else going on. It's like COVID is running college football right now.
Which
For
we
sure,
knew
for
was gonna
sure,
happen.
for sure. Shout out to Devontae Smith, who became the all-time leading TD scorer for wide receiver in SEC history. He scored his 32nd and 33rd TD as Bama beat up on poor Kentucky. So Bama's still doing it, and Mac Jones hasn't missed a beat. So looking forward to the Iron Bowl on Saturday. All right, Professor. Let's give him a little fancy fantasy post takes this week.
All right, y'all. So we did a little bit of flavor this week because we will not be joining you on Thursday for our normal fantasy football rundown. So tonight, our posts actually have some fantasy in it. So let's get started. All right, King Henry did actually walk off the Ravens in overtime. This dude is just unbelievably difficult to apprehend. Not even the sheriff of Nottingham could stop him on Sunday. If you have him, start him. Ready or not, here he comes. Patrick Mahomes would not be denied against the Raiders. I could see it in his eyes with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. He was saying, too much time, Gruden. With the Bucs coming up, he had to take care of business. He will certainly be ready for a showdown with Brady. Start him. Nick Chubb is back. He ground up the Eagles and spit them out. Every pun intended on that one. The points just kept coming with him. He will do the same against the Jaguars defense this week. Start. In this city, I know it's Cowboys week, but who cares? Like, really, who cares? I just want to be able to digest my food. So I will be giving thanks, but only looking at parts of this game. Yeah, start scary Terry McLaurin, sit everyone else, including Antonio Gibson. This will be a dirty game. Hey, when was the last time when we had a team that's 10-0 and another team 0-10 in the same season? It is possible that we could have history being made with an offer and an undefeated Super Bowl champion. What's up, Miami and Detroit? You may not be alone anymore in the modern era. Oh, yeah, start the Steelers defense and special teams. Sit any Jets that you still have. Not sure why you would have any of them on your team anyway. Taysom Hill is eating his gumbo. I will take that over Winston's crabs any day. Who that nation is about to buck them Broncos. Start Michael Thomas, but sit Jerry Jeudy as well as his quarterback. He has not been the perfect lock any week of this season. Ravens versus Steelers has lost its luster. COVID is appearing to be undefeated. Sit Lamar Jackson this week if you know what is good for you. It could get ugly. Start Ben, but none of his receivers. With a depleted defense, they will run more and spread the ball around in the passing game. Tua against the Jets to be his bounce back. Can't believe Gase still has a job. Mr. Crazy Eyes. Start Miami's defense as well and running back Ahmad. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods of the Rams. Start them both against the Niners. Rams are trying to get Goff hot, and his sure-handed receivers are having a party of receptions these weeks. If you saw the game last night, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Human joystick versus Super Cam. Start Murray, but sit Cam. He still isn't right after COVID. I know he had a decent game last week. Murray continues to play out of his mind for all to see. Be wise this week. Pick winners and ice the losers. It's early, so pay attention to injuries and who is practicing this week. Isn't that right, Jay Wills? Yes, some sir. Cats are gamers and only need time on Sunday to get warmed up to blow up. Kamara fits this category. Get well soon, Drew. We'll see you soon. Back over to you, Big Reg.
Jay Wills, would you have anything to add as far as the, I think the injury updates, anything that we missed during the NFL segment?
Got a few guys here. DJ Hayden, starting cornerback, for the Jaguars. Hamstring, he's out for the rest of the season.
They don't need him.
Josh Allen, he's been placed on Jaguars IR, so expect him to be out for about 3-4 weeks. Randall Cobb has not been practicing this week. Who? Kenny Stills has been limited in practice. This is Texas wide receiver Kenny Stills. And DeAndre Swift, he's still in concussion protocol.
That hurts.
Actually, he returned to practice on a limited basis today. Okay. Keep an eye on him. Kenny Galladay, he did not practice today. And I'm going to say that's it, gentlemen, for all the major news. So just like Big Red, excuse me. Like Professor J say, check back throughout the week. Things can change or things can get worse. So make sure you stay informed.
And if you happen to have anybody playing on your team that plays for Detroit, I think Detroit plays the Houston, I believe it is, in the early game, or the Washington and Dallas game. Check your lineup early. Also check, do you really want them players anyway? But that's a whole nother subject. Right. Come on. And definitely check in on the Ravens game because you never know who's going to be playing. They might decide to, shut it down and sit almost everybody since most of the team's going to be out with COVID. All right, a couple other things that caught our eye before we get up out of here. I'd like to say congrats to Davison Figueredo on his first round guillotine choke submission on Alex Perez and Valentina Shevchenko on her unanimous decision victory. Both defended their flyweight titles at UFC 255 over the weekend. It was a good card. A couple of up and comers were on this, including the young fella that had the crazy spinning back kick. He knocked his guy out in the second round with a punch this time. So, uh, if you like UFC, Dana's got a big card coming in December, and then 2021 is going to be a monster in UFC. For you college basketball fans, believe it or not, college basketball starts this week, both men's and women, but they're going through a crazy time. A lot of the games have already been canceled / postponed because of COVID. You got star coaches coming down with COVID, players. So, quick question. Should the NCAA push the season start back to February?
Yes, that's easy. Yes.
Because
Do you
there's
really want
no
me to answer
reason.
that?
I know you're going to say they shouldn't be playing at all, which is how I feel.
Yeah.
There's no need to play games yet. Why even start? Why even try to start? Look, they're having. Let's take for instance Arizona State in football. They haven't had a game. They've had 3 straight games canceled because of COVID. So I'm just saying, we're dealing with a pandemic. We already see. Every week we get in here and we there's so many positive tests. We don't even talk about half of. We don't even talk about. It's like we just understand that certain games there's going to be certain things are going to be affected by COVID, and when we try to avoid talking about it, we're forced to talk about it. No, they should not be putting them players at any risk of playing. But right now, I think it's about saving face for them. Everybody sees that college football is being played, so all these advocates of fairness is saying, "Hey, well, if they're playing, why can't we play?" So that's all. That's what that is about. And then ultimately, as you say, J3, money.
Because college football finances everything else, and they don't need to play college basketball.
But Ed, I completely agree with you. Look, we're literally in the middle of numbers rising again during this pandemic. First and foremost, it's a pandemic. We were warned in March, April, May that as the weather started to get colder outside, the numbers were going to rise. It's not that like we didn't see this coming a mile away. So for them to actually want to start now, in the thick of it, you want to start traveling now and doing it now, it kind of blows my mind. It blows my mind. It lets you know that it's clearly all about the money. It's not about safety. It's not about this, that, and the third. They're clearly trying to make some cash, and they don't mind rolling your black butt right on out there to do it.
Yeah, because they already missing all that invitational, Maui invitational, and all that money. They lost out on March Madness this year. Yeah, they try and get some of that money back.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Also, in NCAA basketball, the Alabama colleges got some rude awakenings from the NCAA this week. Auburn has self-imposed the 2021 postseason ban, trying to lessen the blow for the impeding big-time NCAA violations that they have pending. And we got to be true. So we got to talk about Alabama. Alabama got 3 years probation for their men's basketball team. They lost 10% of their revenue for their basketball program and a bunch of other things for one of their associate ADs helping to get paid to funnel players to possible agents while they were still on campus. So that FBI big time look in the NCAA basketball, all that's coming back up because of the change in the administration. So look for a lot of teams. Arizona, be on the lookout. Kansas, they coming. There's a whole lot of teams that have been skating that's going to get caught up. Got to give a big applaud and hats off this week for the teams that do play in the men's basketball. The black coaches will honor the late John Thompson Jr., who passed in August. They will wear the trademark white towel over the shoulder in honor of Big John. Some of them say they're going to do it all season just to show how much they respect John and his contributions to not only basketball, but specifically to the black coaches in the NCAA. So congratulations. And for you, J3, for all you suckers out there, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones are scheduled to have their pay-per-view exhibition match this Saturday. So get your dollars up if you want to see a 56-year-old and a 49-year-old fight. I don't even think it's going to happen, but
yeah, we'll see.
Saturday pay-per-view.
Do you order with your AARP card, or how does that?
That's a good one.
They both got one.
That's a good one.
Y'all let me know how the fight turns out, because I will not be tuning in.
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
All right, fellas, it's time for our final post. So let's go ahead and hit it so we can get out of here. Let's start with Jay Wills. What you got for me this week?
Everyone stay safe. I know Thanksgiving is coming, but be mindful to protect yourselves. The numbers are creeping back up. And like we stated earlier, you can get a test on, say you got one last week for this week. You still got to double check and make sure you're doing what's necessary. So keep your mask on, be safe, and love you all, man. And be grateful and thankful for something, because it could be a lot worse.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that, brother. Big Ed, what you got for us?
Hey, I just want to say everybody be safe out there. Health is wealth. As far as I'm really thankful that I could still call my mother and I could call my dad anytime I want to. And my mother, she recently get well soon, Mom. My mother recently fell and had to get to the emergency room the other day. But she's on her road to recovery. She broke a nose and had a concussion, but she's going to be okay.
Oh, wow. Sorry
better,
to hear
Mom.
that.
Praying for her, man.
Absolutely.
Get well soon, Mom. We look forward to you. We miss you. You know you are our number one fan, so
For sure.
our hearts go out for you. Professor, what you got for me?
Yeah, everybody just remember to be thankful for all that you have. It's easy for us to take things for granted. And I say that because last night was emotional for me, and I didn't know that it would be. On Monday Night Football, there was an all-black referee cast that officiated the game. And then, that made NFL history. And to know that Jerome Boger, who is a Morehouse man, the house, he was the referee last night. So that really, brought a tear to my eye. And the fact that he had on the number 23, if you all don't know this, Johnny Greer in 1988 was the first black or African-American to be a referee in an official NFL game, and he wore number 23. Boger went to the NFL and got Johnny's permission to actually wear the number 23 in tribute to him. So, man, that's some facts for you. That's some history for you, and we should definitely take pride in that. God bless.
Beautiful.
All right, J3.
So I just want to say thank you to you all for, first of all, being a part of this show. Thank you for your spouses, your wives, your girlfriends for supporting our show. But I also want to say thank you for all the family and friends who support us. We don't want to take anyone for granted. And I also want to thank all our angels that are around us. We don't give enough acknowledgement to the angels that we actually live with or be around on a daily basis, but we're all surrounded by them. So please give hugs and kisses to your angels and let them know that they are an angel in your life, and happy Thanksgiving.
I wouldn't be myself if I didn't say this. J3, you want me to thank my wife and my girlfriend?
You know what?
You gonna get punched in the neck
I'm
tonight.
out of that one.
Only you, Jay Wills. Only you.
You gonna get punched right in the neck tonight, bud.
In the throat.
And
I
then,
couldn't help myself.
In the throat.
and then she gonna give you your son and say, "Take him with you."
That's a mess. That's a mess.
Oh, that was a good one, Jay Wills. You got me there. Fellas, I want to say thank you to a few different people, and I'll try to keep it as short as possible. I like to thank my family, and I break that down into 3 categories. The family I was born into, and I appreciate all them, my sisters, my nephew, my dad, my aunts, my cousins, and all them. Then the family that I chose. First and foremost, my wife, who gave me my beautiful baby girl, who are the reason for me doing what I do and being. But my extended family, or as I like to call it, my brothers and sisters from other mothers. I'd like to thank you all. Y'all know who you are because y'all know that I call you brother or sister. I really appreciate all you do for me and my family and for the Post crew. We love you. And if we don't tell you that enough, know that we truly do love you. And then I'd like to thank my Post family. Fellas, all of our special guests that have come on, our extended family, J Minnie, G Money, can't if I forget your names, don't take it. But all the regulars that were there before, we
Weezy,
appreciate
Big
you,
Al,
Big Al,
Yolanda,
Weezy,
Wow.
Yolanda,
for helping us get this thing
Mika.
off the ropes, get it started.
Yes,
God,
sense.
yeah, absolutely
For sure.
sense.
For sure.
All the
Yeah.
fellas for from blanking.
Delay a game.
Delay a game. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for helping us to put on this show each and every week. And as long as y'all continue to show up, we will continue to show up and give you our positions on sports. And we, as J3 said, we never take for granted your time, your contributions, your support. We really, really appreciate it. And we're grateful. And I'm ultimately thankful for. So from me, Big Reg, and the rest of the Post crew, we greatly appreciate you. And for my brothers of Post, I love y'all. Appreciate
Love you
y'all
too.
on this ride with me. Thank you all for tuning in and listening. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. Please tune in next Tuesday. We'll be back 7 p.m. We're here each and every week for our next live show. You can also pick up our previous shows on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. If you check us out, please do us a favor, like and subscribe. Both are free. Tell your friends, family members if you enjoy the show, and most importantly, if you have ideas on how we can get better with the show, please hit us up. We always have an open mind and open heart. This has been a Positional Sports Show talk show, Thanksgiving edition. Everybody be safe. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
See ya.
God bless you.
Big Reg, you trying to make a retired gangster cry.